Hi, this is Rebecca. I'm the owner and founder of Elliott Educational, and I'm having a chat today with Ethan, who is currently at a grammar school and has been through the process of taking his 11 plus. In full disclosure, Ethan is actually my own son, and he's very kindly volunteered to help me with this interview. Hi, Ethan.
Hello.
Hi. Okay. And so you're going to just tell us a little bit about the 11 plus. Can you just tell us how old you are and what year you're in?
I'm 13 years old and I'm currently in year 8.
Yes. So you haven't been at school for quite a few weeks, even months now, have you, because of the
No.
coronavirus, but you are
Yeah.
still working online. Okay,
Yes.
so Ethan, when you go to take your 11 plus, what happens when you first arrive at the school?
So they bring you into the main hall in my case, and then they make you wait there for a while. Then they will slowly call sections of people to come in and go to their allocated hall. Um, in the hall, they kind of have like seats, and then you're given a seat, and you have to sit there and wait for the exam to start silently.
Yes. And do you need to bring in your own stationery or anything like that?
No. In fact, you're not quite allowed. I know my friend tried to bring something in, and they weren't allowed to. They got it taken off them, and they provide everything for you. So you have a pencil, paper, and I think you have a pen as well. I'm not sure about that one.
Okay. And
No,
so
not a pen.
the 11 plus that you took was multiple choice, wasn't it? So can you explain how that works?
So they had, I believe it is actually marked by a computer. So they had boxes. They would say things such as A, B, C, D, E. It would be alphabetical generally. There were certain questions where it wouldn't be like that because it was shape based or number based. But it was essentially you had to put a direct straight line. Like it has to be a strong straight line in a box where you think your answer is, and you can't. You've kind of got to be careful because you've got to rub it out really thoroughly if you make a mistake, and you've got to put and if you don't make a mistake, you just put a line through it, and then if it's right, the computer should hopefully mark it right.
Yes, I'm sure it will. Okay. And so you did two different tests, didn't you, for your 11 plus? So you did the verbal reasoning and the non-verbal reasoning. So can you tell us a bit about how the verbal reasoning test works, first of all?
Well, the verbal reasoning test is different from the non-verbal reasoning test. So you start off, and they set you off on the exam, and you slowly work through in any order you want. Some people have different preferences as to which order they'd like to go in, and you slowly work through the test. You do every section, and there'll be different sections as you go through. The verbal reasoning is very word based. It has lots of word-ish questions, and it's got one or two questions associated with codes. I would say you probably have to know how to spell, and you have to understand know your alphabet quite well in order to do a lot of the questions. So it's verbal in that it uses a lot of words essentially.
Yes, and it does
Mm.
have some maths questions on as well, doesn't
Yes,
it?
it has. It will have. Sometimes it will have a section. It will have the sections differ each time, of course. So
Yes,
you'd
yeah.
never know what you're going to get on the test.
Okay, but sometimes people think verbal just means words, doesn't it? But
No,
actually,
no.
it can mean numbers as well. So that's good.
Yes,
So the thing with the verbal test is that you can work it sort of implied there you can work through it at your own speed, can't you? So you have an
yes.
hour to do it, and you can do it in any order that you choose. Um, do you get any practice questions before that test?
Um, I'm not 100% sure about this one actually. I believe you do get one or two practice questions. However, it may not be the case that there. I know for a fact they will give you intervals in between, and they will tell you when you're about halfway through the test, and then when you've got 5 minutes to go. So Um, I know and it's sometimes quite important that you constantly check the clock, because it's all about working on a strict time and making sure you don't spend too long on a section.
Yes, that's right. That's a very good tip. And then obviously you also did the non-verbal reasoning. So can you tell us a bit about that and how it's different and how the way it's organized is different from the verbal reasoning?
Well, the non-verbal reasoning is very different from the verbal reasoning in that when you get set off, you don't have a option to work freely through the test. You'll get a section. They'll give you some practice questions and explain how to do it, and then and then after you've done the practice questions, they'll tell you the answers to those and set you off. You have a specific time limit to do it. I can't remember how many sections there actually were, but say if you had 6 sections, you'd get 10 minutes per section, because every section takes the same amount of time. And you will have to work through that. And once your time's up, you have to move on to the next section, and you can't go back regardless of whether or not you answered all the questions.
Okay, good. That's great. And so you've told us that you're in year 8 now. So you've been at the grammar school for nearly 2 years. Do you like being at a grammar school?
Yes, personally, I've really enjoyed being at a grammar school. I know for a fact when I came to a grammar school, I was expecting it to be different, and it was different in some ways. But if you're thinking, oh, it's going to be really different, everyone's going to be very different from you, and no one's going to be like you, I would not say that at all. I'd say most people are very similar to you, they've got similar thinking to you, and it's quite easy to find friends if you actually feel like you really want to go to this grammar school. So it's it's a place where you can always you don't usually feel like you don't fit in. You usually feel quite welcome. You might not feel like you fit in. That might be different for you, but it's always good. Education quality is amazing. Even during coronavirus, they've set us good amounts of work. They've kept us going, and even the head teacher obviously really cares about the school and that he emails you and stuff. And again, that's just my school. It might be different for your school, but they've done really well, and I would definitely recommend going to a grammar school.
Excellent. Right. Thank you very much, Ethan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.